Harley friends, welcome to another video in Stefan's garage. Today we are talking about my biggest strength, and that is patience, being patient. When that video is released, Jürgen, I hope that our flight tomorrow will take place and I'm not overdoing it again. I should rest, but I got a package today. And what's better than doing some relaxing wrenching in the garage? Lots of things are better, for example, having a full tank on the bike. Don't try this at home. But first let's see what's in the package. Apparently it's from Wilbers, not Wilbers, like autocorrect would make you think very often. It says sponsoring. Honestly, that is the first time that I'm getting something for my Harleys for free and not paying it with my own money. But as brand ambassador for Wilbers, I think that's okay. So we have some Wilbers fork springs. We have the adjustment wrench. Two bottles of oil, and ta-da-da-da, a Nivomat shock set for the Tourings. Basically this will be a regular roadking install. So strategy, the bike has almost 0 mileage, so no fork rebuild required. I'm going to remove the fender, the brake calipers, the front wheel, and then we get easy access to the triple tree pinch bolts in order to release the fork legs. And now it's time to put on some orange gloves. While doing this, the bike will be my official Wilbers demo bike. So that's why I have the drop guards. Wherever you see me at bike rallies at the Wilbers booth, you can do test rides in order to see the benefits of the Wilbers Nivomat suspension. Those test rides just bring a full history of your driving history, starting from 16 years on up to now. Auf Deutsch, Auszug aus dem Verkehrszentralregister Flensburg. No, just kidding. But obviously, I'm not handing it to every guy, but serious guys who are interested in getting a Wilbers can try it out, of course. carefully slide out the front fender. And put it aside. Oh, by the way, those fender screws, a 1/4 inch socket. Now we change to a 10 mil 12 point for the made by Brembo brake calipers. Okay, as I have to relax and rest, I can open up the axle nut with the impact. Normally I would use a hand tool. And now back to another non-US supplier. The fork is supplied by Shore. So the pinch bolt here is a 6 mm Allen. Just a couple of turns and then we can remove the front axle. Bike is brand new, so I do expect no binding, but as well I do expect no grease on the axle. Let's see. Oh no. Big shout out to Leipzig Harley-Davidson during the PDI. They put some anti-seize here onto the axle. Or maybe Harley puts it on for the police bike, I don't know. As I don't want to remove the lamp housing and we cannot reach the top pinch bolt of the upper triple tree with a torque wrench, I'm marking the pinch bolt with a white pen, and later on I will make sure that those markings overlap so it's the same strength like originally from the factory. So, special tool for the upper triple tree is a 1/4 inch Allen key that I cut so I can fit here in between, and maybe I need some leverage, so let's see. No, I don't need leverage. So I give it about 3 to 4 1/4 turns, I would guess. Not exactly a 1/4. And then with a regular socket, I loosen those two. Basically, if you want to see just the install, just go to my roadkingspecial install video. Basically the same job. This one is just done with a special bike. Now we're going to open up the fork leg. Once again, power tool and a 19 mil Allen. Here you have to be extremely careful as there's quite some pressure here in the fork leg. So what I'm doing, securing it with my legs and then pushing down with my weight. And don't push down too hard because then you will create some extra pressure working against you. Just a little bit of pressure that you see the fork leg is starting to collapse. And then it's very easy to open up the fork leg. We will reuse the preload tube. Of course, we will reuse the washer, but we won't reuse the spring and the oil. And as I mentioned, patience is one of my greatest strengths. So now I'm patient and let all the oil drain out. So let's compare the Harley spring and the Wilbers spring. Obviously difference in length, but the Wilbers spring is thicker than the Harley spring, so the compression when closing the forks should be identical. And what else is immediately noticed? It's the surface of the Harley spring compared to the Wilbers. And let's see if we can demonstrate that. For that I put down my microphone and I won't fumble with the settings when editing the video. And I put it here. So we have the same distance both springs. And then I'm just rubbing with a paper towel the Harley spring and the Wilbers spring. Same pressure. Therefore the Wilbers spring is much more sensitive with small imperfections in the road, where the Harley spring still needs a wake-up call to get going. We have some nice lawn trimmer sound in the background. Okay, I got my fork oil tool and it's set to 110 millimeters or 11 centimeters according to the install instructions provided with the kit. Almost empty. Those touring kits are normally delivered with 2 bottles, 2 liters of Wilbers fork oil. You need around 1.3 to 1.4 liters, so you will have quite an amount left. The oil viscosity according to your bike. Normally on those touring bikes it's a viscosity 10, but the Road Kings, however, with a lighter front end, they get a 7.5. It's just been changed recently, so if you have an older Wilbers on your Road King, you might have had the viscosity 10 oil, but that's not a problem at all. Now we need to bleed the oil. Hopefully you can see it. No, but you can hear it. A lot of air inside. So normally you should do this with 2 persons. However, I am home alone. Therefore I'm using some help from my tools. I'm covering the fork tube with my hand, creating a vacuum, and now pulling up against that vacuum and then pushing down over pressure, and the same thing for about 20 times. And then the air should be forced out of all those cavities. It up, or top it off. Get your fork oil tool. Get somebody with a that can give you a hand. And now we pull out oil all the oil that is in excess of those 110 millimeters. Okay, now we put in the Wilbers fork. Orientation is with the progressive, the thicker end facing upwards. Don't forget the provided the stock washer. On roadking models we use the provided preload sleeve, but as it is pretty hard to close that fork leg, as I mentioned, it's hard to close it, therefore I just make the thread going and make a marking where the threads are engaging. Oh, by the way, of course, the oil level is measured with the fork fully down, just to have a base marking. So now let's see. Once again, very careful, because if you slip or miss something, then you get all the pressure and the sharp preload tube doing you harm. Non-edited, second try. Not too bad. Now we clean the fork tube and get our torque wrench. Just some brake cleaner to have a clean surface. And of course we have to remove our markings. Just checking on the camera. Yeah, and now we have just a simple oil filter tool to hold it. Torque wrench is set to 45 Newton meters. The torque spec according to the Harley manual for this top nut is 30 to 80 Newton meters, so that's ridiculous. Just give it .45. It's well within spec, and now we can reinstall the first fork leg. Oh no, maybe we have forgotten something. Of course, Benny would be unhappy if there's a promotion bike missing the sticker. Hopefully you can see everything. As we don't have an exact measurement for the height of the fork tube, we are using the front axle as a guideline. Remember, we didn't touch the right hand fork leg so far. That's the perfect height. Just let's remember this. Tighten the one of the lower pinch bolts, or pinch bolts of the lower triple tree. Still perfect. So now we can tighten the rest and torque it down. Torque spec for that pinch bolts is of course more important than for the top nut. It's 22 Newton meters, and on the lower triple tree, as we have 2 screws, we need to repeat torquing it down by, I would say, 3 times. So lower one is torqued, now the upper one, and now checking the lower one. As those two work together, see, it's kind of loose again. And now rechecking the upper one. And once again, 3rd time for the lower one, and the last time for the upper one. And the top one, back to the white marking. Two. Three. Yeah, perfectly aligned. The bolts and the triple tree, of course, the washer has moved, so but the bolt and triple tree are both in line. So, other side, copy paste. And now both fork legs are proper torqued. Height is as well checked. Now we reinstall the front wheel. Make sure that we don't mix up the turn direction, but for that we got some arrows. So don't forget the spacer. Well, you won't forget it. Spacer doesn't have a direction. Prepare the ABS sensor. And now, without using force but using feel, you lift the wheel slightly and reinsert the axle. See, no hammer needed, no force needed. That's best for the material. The washer and the axle nut, and we push the ABS sensor up until it touches the fork slider. Just hand tight. Make sure that the ABS sensor did not slide out. And now we will reinstall the brake calipers. Put the ABS cable bracket on top. No Loctite is used for the brake calipers. Same on the other side, just without the ABS. Just without the ABS sensor bracket, cable, device, whatever, you know what I mean. By the way, the King still doesn't have a name yet, so if you have a good idea, I'm not going for black and white like all my other models that I somehow named after colors I can't remember. This should have something with a king and police theme. So let's see if you got a better idea than I might have. Torquing down the front axle. Torque spec is 98 Newton meters. We have to hold the axle, prevent it from spinning while we are torquing it down. 98. Check that the ABS sensor is still in place and didn't turn. And we continue our torque sequence with the brakes. Brakes get 45 Newton meters. And the other side. Next one, the front axle pinch bolt. That one gets 27 Newton meters. And observe the sequence. You have to torque the axle first and then the pinch bolt, otherwise you get some tension in your fork. And last piece in the front is the fender. Screws are already prepared with blue Loctite. Oh man, gravity has struck again. I'll just secure the fender bolts to make sure that gravity is not striking again, and even harder. Now a big love from all serious wrenchers. The fender bolts get 25 Newton meters. Of course I could do it without the torque wrench, but that's how I do it, especially when on camera. And I checked the comment section already. Sorry, Inspector Columbo is not approved by my girls, but I'm open to new other suggestions. Front is done. Now let's swap to the rear. Of course I will clean up the fingerprints, but that's not on camera. With those larger screaming needle mufflers we have a slight problem, because we cannot really fit a nut safely onto the muffler. Therefore we are going, or I am going to remove both upper shock bolts, then lower the bike to get access to the lower bolts without the risk of damaging the mufflers. The wrong direction, because I wanted to get a little bit of tension off the rear wheel. Okay, that was too much. I want the rear wheel just barely touching, so there's no tension on those mounts. With the lower one still tight, those shocks stay in place. And now I'm going to lower the bike. And now, yeah, now we got clearance. Copy paste on the other side. You want to join me? Here you go. Short comparison. Here it's not that obvious. Of course, they are dirty. The Nivomats are not. Both beefy, but this one with a lot of German voodoo magic inside, as Ryan puts it. And for the right-hand shock, it's crystal clear, poor quality, cheap, and this one is really good stuff. Now for the rears, the mounting direction is with the Wilbers Nivomat sticker facing to the rear, because here's the pickup for the oil inside, and of course the pickup needs to be at the lowest point. So according to the Harley manual, we put on some blue Loctite. Also, there was no Loctite provided by the factory. And as we have no access later on to those lower screws because of the Screaming Eagle exhaust, we need to torque them down right away. Torque spec is 90 Newton meters. Copy paste on the other side. So please read the manual before first ride. If you watch this video, you don't need to read the manual. Just to be kind of symmetrical, right hand shock, Wilbur sticker as well facing to the rear. It is not as vital. The only thing is this slot should face forward so that water, if you clean the bike or if it rains, can easily drain. The motto of this video is relaxing wrenching, because I want to be on that flight tomorrow. And again, 90 Newton meters, careful with the exhaust. Yeah. And now we're going to lift the bike a little bit again in order to do the upper ones. Preparing the other side. And the last one. Left-hand saddlebag can already be reinstalled. I will use the time in order to clean the rear wheel, and the right hand needs to stay off because we need to do the sag adjustment. And now the magic sag adjustment. For that I lifted the bike that the rear wheel is completely in the air, can spill without any resistance. And now I need to take a base measurement. Normally I have my special tool which won't work with the screaming needle exhaust. And to make things even worse, it's just me. So maybe it is working here with the tape. Yeah, I can slide it into the axle, and then I need something as a reference line. Yeah, I go to the top of the bolt. And 35 and a little bit, so my reference line would be down here. So when I'm sitting on the bike, it needs to sag to this place, to this spot down here. Then I should be good. Let's see if this works with just one person or if I need somebody to help me out. A little bit too stiff. Yeah, maybe I can make it work like this, but nevertheless it's a little bit too stiff, so I need to loosen the preload. I need to loosen the preload with the provided spanner wrench. Guys, this is much easier with a second person who is doing the measurement while you are sitting on the bike. Let's give it another try without crushing this whole assembly. No, that didn't go well. Okay, you get the point. The original base measurement needs to sag 20 millimeters with the rider, the designated rider sitting on the bike. Okay guys, now everything is installed. Let's go for a quick test ride and see how the majestic suspension is performing on the Roadking. Genau, uhu. Already. A majestic suspension for a Roadking. See you next time.